guys had a chance to check out Earth Day in there. I'm Fred Meyerson, and I'm the moderator for what will hopefully be some information, but a lot of interaction and hopefully ideas about how to, from all of you, about how to improve transportation at URI and make it more sustainable. So today there'll be 3 speakers and actually another, a fourth who will say something brief in a couple of minutes. There'll be Rachel Shally, who will talk about commuter behavior and greenhouse gas emissions. She's a graduate student here. I'm about to get a master's in environmental science and management. And then Dr. Norbert Mundorf, who will be talking about behavior change and sustainable campus transportation. And finally, Tim McCormick, who's the planning manager for RIPTA, which is the state transportation organization. So they're each going to speak, and I think, because this should be interactive, you should feel free to raise your hand and ask questions, and then at the end, hopefully we'll all get together, and that's when, and at that time, but also throughout, feel free to throw up ideas about URI transportation. I wanted to mention that this is sort of an the President Carruthers signed the President's Sustainability Agreement, which a lot of university presidents have signed, and created a council back in the late summer of 2007. The council has met a number of times. Rachel and I are on it, as well as maybe a couple of other people in this room. 3 committees: education and marketing, transportation, operations and facilities. And this panel has to do with transportation. And so what we want to say is that Rachel and I and others will feed back the ideas we hear to the President's Council on Sustainability. And their mission is to provide guidance to URI's commitment to sustainable practices, and to support initiatives and imaginative solutions for the green URI. And mostly around lowering the university's carbon footprint, which is quite enormous. It's like a size 14 shoe at the moment. We want to shrink that to like a size 9 at least. And lastly, before I turn it over to Rachel, I'd like to bring up Eric Mundorf, and he's going to talk about what's a success story, which is a pilot project on carpooling. And so maybe you'd like to say something for a minute.
Hi everyone, I'm Eric Mundorf, and basically what we wanted to do this summer, I was actually just hanging out with my dad, and I was like, you know, I want to get involved, and I want to do something tangible for the university that would, you know, help the students do something environmental. So he told me about the Sustainability Fund, and me and a couple others, Will Frost, Julie, Saoirse, we talked about a lot of the different alternatives, and the best one we came up with was this carpool challenge. So we got the money, which was nice, but we at first, you know, we wanted to make sure that promotion seems to be a big problem in URI, something that a lot of clubs have trouble getting, you know, any kind of recognition or a turnout. So we focused a lot on that, and basically we got a Facebook event. We went around there against it, went door to door, put some flyers up. What else, Saoirse?
We also just word of mouth in the classrooms, and once the carpool challenge got started, it really helped to get those people who were initially involved in it as carpoolers to spread the word on their own and tell their friends, because that really helped boost the numbers. And then we also, after a few days, we realized we do need to do more promotions, and we made even larger scale posters, and we strategically placed them across the campus, which also very much so helped progress this.
So basically the idea is that we would use the fine arts faculty side lot, which there's like around 300 spots in total, and like about 40 faculty cars use this lot. So there's 260 open spaces. So our biggest day was Tuesday, which was yesterday. We got 180 carpoolers. That's So we're really happy about that. And it seems that Tuesdays, Thursdays are much more crowded. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Today we got, which was Wednesday, so we got 54 cars, which is, it's been getting more and more each day. So, I mean, if we had a permanent carpool lot, I mean, I feel like there's so many people using it. Like, Monday we still got like around 40 cars, 37. And, people just didn't even, they were like, oh, this is going on for 2 weeks? Like, that was the end of the first week. So, like, people just not knowing about it, all confusion, yet people still are showing up in big numbers. So, basically we have, I know we have only a brief amount of time, but the music, the Oscar music.
Yeah.
No, anyway, so do you want to talk about the future?
Well, basically, we just have a very tentative idea for a future lot. As we said, it's the faculty lot and fine arts, and there's 2 entrances. So we were just thinking if we were to divide the lot directly in half and have the faculty have, again, their own entryway, so they would not be inconvenienced at all by the carpoolers, and then have the carpoolers enter at the rear. So again, the faculty would still have the better spots, be closer to the buildings, and the carpoolers would have a separate entrance that we could hopefully get facilitated by parking services or even a student working with work study and just draw them in.
Because what we figured out is that it wouldn't really cost the university too much money, because nobody's going to say, oh, I can rely on a carpool every single day. I won't buy a commuter pass. So there would still be the same money generation. And also, like, I think it might be an added incentive for people to get commuter passes. And also, do something with environmental too.
Okay.
Any questions?
I'm worried that we're already 15 minutes into this. So,
Oh, wow.
So what I'd like to do, if there's maybe 1 or 2 questions, if there are now, but we should make it short, and we want to have, this is just one of many potential solutions, and we don't want it to. So, are there any questions, or we can save them for the end?
Real quick, if we did have the commuter passes, or if you commute to school, you get a pass right now. If you did have a carpooling pass, would there be a separate pass, and would it cost extra money?
Well, what we were thinking was, instead of doing like the passes, because that's kind of a waste of paper and that kind of thing, a lot of like handing things, we'd end up having one person. So here's the faculty side, the student side. We'd have one person check-in, and it would just be open from like 8 in the morning to like sometime in that early afternoon. So maybe 2 people, work study, so that doesn't cost that much for the university. This is just ideas that we had, And then you wouldn't have to use passes, because everybody that was in that lot, we'd have a divider up in the middle, so we'd have a sectioned off area where nobody would have.
Still need a commuter pass, though. There's probably
You need a commuter
logically
pass.
there could not be just a carpool pass.
So since now we're getting into kind of
Yeah.
nitty-gritty of a proposal, what I would suggest you do, and we've had discussions afterwards, what I would suggest is write up a very specific proposal. I don't know if I get too specific. You solve everything, the more you put down, the more people. So circulate. And so thank you very much to these guys.
If you have any more questions,
We'll do it. We'll have it as part of the discussion at the end. Thanks very much. And so now Rachel Shelley will talk about some of her